So, hey everyone. So today we are going to talk about the part 2 of our Unreal Engine basic interface. And in the previous video, we have already talked about the first three sections of the basic Unreal Engine interface. And today we are going to cover up the content browser, outliner, um, details panel, world settings, so far. So it's going to be the end of this Unreal Engine interface section. So let's get started with. Okay, the final thing that where we left finally is like here. You can see this panel we have already talked about, and this one we are going to just cover up. This is called the viewport option button, where we can see the options related to the uh, viewport, like show FPS, and we can also set some bookmarks for the project as well. So you can see here, like thus the changes in this viewport will be same as the real time, like it will be synced to the real time, or it can be a baked one. So this will talk about that, and we can able to show some FPS over this. Okay, so like this I can show some FPS. As you can see in the right corner, you can see the FPS, like how many FPS your project is currently getting up. So like this, and we have a lot of the different options that is related to the viewport here. Okay, so the main important thing is like here we can have the bookmark options. So bookmarks is very useful for just uh, caching our location, camera location in the different places. For example, let's say if I need to check whether my how my game level will look like from this perspective, okay, I can go for this one and I can just go for the bookmark option. I can, let's say, set bookmark. It will show different options. I can just say bookmark 0. Now I'm getting back to this and I'm just making some changes over this. Okay, like this, like this. But I need to see from that perspective. Okay, so instead of manually just moving my mouse, I can just go for that and let's say go for the bookmark and go for the bookmark 0. So it could be much more beneficial for us when we start bookmarking these kind of things. We can able to see the level from the different perspectives. So that is the main concept of the bookmarks. All right, and we can able to take the screenshots as well. So like this, if I'm in the particular bookmark, or might be if you feel this was the perfect angle to take a screenshot, yeah, you can just use this one and just take a high resolution screenshot. It will be saved. And advanced settings, like I said, it's about the editor preferences that you guys already seen this under the edit section, right, which you guys can already see in the edit section. So editor preferences there. So this is just another window there. That's all. So that's all about the viewport options button. And here you can see the layouts, which you can able to see. There are some default layouts out there in the Unreal Engine where you can able to use it, and you can just navigate to it. Okay, so that's one of the other purpose as well. Like I can, let's say, if I give it like this, then you can see there is two different viewport is like this. Okay, so it's like we can just have the custom layout. I can just one viewport is enough for me, so I can just go for it. Okay, and the next option is the perspective button. Perspective button allows to see the level from the different point of view, like how this level will look from the top. I don't need to just hover my mouse over this and just go like that. So perspective button will just allow me to just see from different perspectives, like let's say for the top. Now you can see this is the top view of our level. Don't get panic like, okay, what the hell is this? It's in the wireframe mode, so you can just go for the lit mode and you can able to see the level normally as we are seeing it here. So top mode, bottom, bottom you can't able to see it. It will be a black one. Hope you can able to understand what's the point. So left and right, so all those stuff, front and back as well. So it's the same one. We don't need to worry about that. So we can also go for the cinematic viewport, and the thing is going to be perspective. So you can see aspect ratio will just change and lot of the different things from It's like the cinematic camera and the normal camera. Okay, so that's the difference. We can switch for the default viewport, and that's all about the perspective window. And the next stuff is like the view mode. So for the view mode, how you are going to actually see the level, that's the point here. Like currently I'm seeing the level in the lit mode, right? So what happens if there is no light in the scene? You can just go for the unlit. So this is how the scene will look like if there is no light in the scene. So which is clearly that it looks bad, to be honest. Yeah. So it looks bad, and yeah, we gotta think like that. And if you need to know about like how computer can able to understand your level, they only know about the zeros and points, and they usually know about the connections between that. For example, let's say if it was a cube, then you can just say wireframe mode. Okay, so wireframe mode, which will actually contains, so computer can able to understand this one. If we gonna apply some material over this object, so that's what the final outcome that you are seeing up, and that's called the shaders. So for example, um, I'm going for the lit mode. Now you can see some of the gray color texture has been applied to this mesh, right? This is what my computer sees an object in the game world. Imagine I have imported, or I had just placed a plane actor inside my level. This is how the computer sees. So it's just know about the vertices and the points. So what is the final outcome of this one? So this is where the things like, okay, you are just visible the part like this. So it can be an actor, and it's called as plane actor. Okay, so it can be a plane actor. So like this, you need to understand this is the basic concept of when you start studying about the shaders, right? Next part is like this is how the level could be visible for the things. Alright, now show option. Show option is basically used to toggle the visibility of the assets in the environment. For example, let's say I don't need this sky to be get visible. So I can just go for the show, search for the cloud. If I disable this, there is no cloud inside my environment. Okay. So that's a common stuff. So like this could be much more useful when you start designing your environment. Okay. So there are a lot of different options whether you can decide which object can be seen in the game world. So it will enhance your workflow. And the second options is here is like these are the very common options. People won't use the GUI, which means these icons. People won't use this icon. Rather than that, people just normally use the keyboard shortcuts. And this is our main part. Please listen here. It could be like around when you need to move the character, you can just go for the up and down, left and right. So like this, you don't need to use the gizmos. For now, you need to say it's in the translation mode. So it's like the character will go up and down. But what if I need to rotate this actor? I need to press the E. So you can see automatically my gizmos will change from translation to rotation. The keyboard shortcut is E key. So I can able to rotate the cube now. So what if I need to enlarge and just make some squashy kind of thing? So you can press R. So that will be the scaling option. Okay, so I can just say, okay, this is how big my cube should be needed. So like this, it could be the viewport option. These are the common ones, and this is the global space and local space. I believe that we can talk in a separate video, because this is a very important concept that you need to understand when you uh, start using the engine. There will be a lot of places like sometimes we use the global one and sometimes we use the local one. So you need to understand this one. So we can talk about that in the separate video. Okay. And this is how the object snap to the surface. Like what is the surface offset? I like this. For example, let's say If I ask you to place the cube in the ground, you can just manually adjust it like this here. Okay, you can say, okay, my cube has been adjusted properly. Yeah, but there is a keyboard shortcut for this one. Like you can just go there, and the keyboard shortcut is end key. So end key will automatically snap this object to the ground. So this is the very important part. So this shortcut will be useful for most areas. Okay, so feel free to just play with this. When you stuck up like, okay, what is my surface, just press the end key. That's all. And finally, we gotta see the, if we gotta move here, if we carefully listen here, I can say the character is now moving up. You can see there is the jitterness in those things. So it's not actually jittering, it's moving the thing in the 10 units. So that's what. If I go for the details panel in this area, you can see now location is 1150, right? It will be 60. So sorry, I can say it's moving in the y-axis. So I can say 1100 right now. If I if I move to the left, you can see it will just get reduced. Okay, it will just get reduced. And now we have moved 1000 units to the left like this. If I move it to the right, you can see it's moving there. If I change some of the options here, like, okay, move 500, now you can see if I just move my mouse, it will snap like that. So this could be much more beneficial. If you think like, okay, I need a smooth movement, if you are sure about it, then you can just untoggle this one. So now you can see it will just move for each and every centimeter. Okay, each and every centimeter, and that will be more smoother. So this is what you need to know. So these are the options in the viewport. That's all about it. And the last one is the camera speed. So camera speed allows you to just, like, for example, let's say my camera 0.8. If I need to go closer to this cube, you can see this will be like this. So when you start, you just hold down the right mouse button, and then you can just scroll the wheel up. You can see automatically my camera speed has been changed. So now you can see the how fast my camera is going up. So this is very easy. So when you start playing with the controls, you can just automatically get your handful controls. So you don't need to worry about these options. It is not too much of important things, right? Okay. And finally, that's all about the viewport, I guess. So we can just move for the next one, which is the content browser. So content browser will basically talks about like whatever the assets that you wish to use in your project that will be stored here. For example, if I press the play, you can see my mannequin is there, right? So mannequin means we have some animations over it, we have some mesh over it, and we have some, what do you say, that there is some input over this one as well, right? So all these things you can able to get in the content browser. So content browser is basically the like you have a smartphone, right? You can have the file manager. So content browser is like that. That's all. For the real engine, you need to call it as the file manager. So there you see we need to notice some of the points, like if you're gonna add something to the project, you can just drag and drop and just paste it here in the things. Um, but please remember, you cannot import anything, like you can go for third person folder, inside that I can go for the input folder. I can't able to import it directly here. So by default, Unreal suggests that you just need to import it in the content folder first. Then you can able to switch the directory. That's a good case according to the Unreal. Yeah. So apart from this, you see what is the folder structure is there, and some favorites. So favorites, it could be much more beneficial. For example, let's say if I need to go for the inputs, then I need to go for the third person, blueprint, sorry, input, actions, then only I can able to go for these assets. So instead of going like this, we can just say whether, like, I can just select this action folder and I can just set it here, add to favorites. Okay, so basically you have the content option here, right? So if we have the content option here, instead of just opening back again, your folder structure will get complicated as the project begins to grow. So what we should need to do is, like, we can able to just go there, click the action button there, you will be directly prompted to this one. Okay, if you don't wish to, if if you need to remove this folder from the favorite, just right click on that folder and just say remove from the favorite. That's all. And collections, it's a depth one where when your project start growing and you have a team, and let's say you are working on separate things like, okay, these assets belongs to me. If you are not using the source control, you can use the collection to just separate the workflow like, okay, this is my part and this is what this was the some other's part. So it will just avoid the confusions. So that's basically the what the collections is for. And we have the content drawer, which is shaped like the content browser. By default, this is the Unreal Engine template. If you press the control plus space, you're gonna see this window will do. This window will appear, but if I just as soon as navigate in the viewport, it will just go down. So if you don't need to go down, you can just press the dock in layout and you can see automatically the content browser will be there. Okay. So apart from this, we can have the some other options are there. But before that, let's talk about the outliner. Whatever the assets there is in the content browser, sorry, there is in the level, it could be there in the outliner. For example, here, remember this is the place actor panel. Okay. So I can just add a basic shape. It might be a cylinder, so you can automatically see that will be added to the outliner. So basically it will be much more helpful for the people like what are the assets that is in the outliner. You can able to just to know about, okay, this asset is currently present in the level. So this is the main purpose of the outliner. And finally we have the details panel. So details panel will just talk about the assets properties. Example, let's say if I'm clicking the cylinder, then I can able to see what is the static mesh, and we will talk about that when we start the blueprint, right? So when we start talking about the blueprints, there you can able to understand this better. It will contain a lot of the different options. So world settings will actually give you the settings that is related to the world. For each and every level in the Unreal Engine or every world in the Unreal, you will definitely have the game mode. So game mode will contain the essential option like um, what is the character that you need to start playing and what is the HUD. We will talk about that when we start introducing to the Unreal Engine gameplay framework. So this is the common things that we need to know about the Unreal Engine interface, and this is the part 2. And finally we have some sections here, right? So if I make some change, you can see there is unsaved. If I click the save, it will be in the sync. If you start just move this cylinder, automatically you see there are some changes that you haven't saved. So that could be much more beneficial. So you can use this one and you can verify that, okay, this option is currently not saved. It could be like that. Okay. So there is the things, and other options we don't need and we won't use it. Revision control like this, I will talk about the revision control in a new separate video. So it's like the controlling the version of the project. It could be much more beneficial. For example, let's say you are making a cinematic and you felt like I have mistakenly deleted some. What should I do now? Just use the revision control. Go back to the previous version. If you have already committed and just push that to the repository, you can just go back. You can just roll back the change. So that is the power of the version control, and we will talk about that in the separate video. So I guess that's a good introduction to the Unreal Engine interface. Now, if you guys open the Unreal Engine, feel free to play with the navigation tools because like this, you can see I am dynamically changing the camera speed based on this, and I can able to navigate the WASD key if I just hold the right mouse button. And if you select an actor, W means translation, E means rotation, R means scaling. So like this, you can have a lot of the different shortcuts as well. If you press the F key, for example, if I'm far here, I'm selecting the object, I need to just get closer to the object, then I can press the F key. Now you can see the focus will be there. Press the F key, it will be automatically the Unreal Engine will focus that particular actor. And um, end key for the surface snapping, right? So like this, feel free to play yourself, and we can just create a new blueprint, and we will open that and we will start talking about the interface of the blueprint in the next video. See you soon.